truth is, most people are weak, okay? Most people, the average person is a weak-minded person. This is why they are average, okay? I'm not putting a value on this in this moment. I'm not putting a value on that. It's just simply an observation, that's all. Okay? So a strong-minded person can handle being trained like you would program a computer. Okay? So if you were going to program a computer, you would start at the beginning. What would be the first thing that you would do? Anybody? What would be the very first thing that should be, Daryl?
Teach them how to sit.
Yeah, the posture, right? They should be in a T formation. That means their torso and their shoulders should be square, right? So if I'm teaching a really strong person, I know that they're going to be able to handle just being told that and not feel like, oh, I have to practice sitting with my guitar. Anyone who's weak, they're like, dude, that's stupid. Just show me what to do, right? They don't want to sit there and be told to be adjusted on how to sit or how to stand. They're bored. They're not going to do it. And they're not going to practice this at home. Because they're going to think, well, what is there to practice anyway? Okay? So under strong, we're going to write here root. Okay? We're ultimately going to the true root of whatever their problem is. Okay? To the premise, to the foundation. And then, just like if we're trying to grow a tree, we start with the root, we get up to the trunk, get to the big branches, the smaller branches, then the leaves. Okay? For a weak-minded person, it's almost the exact opposite. Okay? For the weak-minded person, they need a victory right away. They need to win. They need to see, oh, wow, crap, you just showed me how to do this, and now some aspect of my playing is better. Those people need an instant victory. If they don't get it, they become discouraged. And they don't trust you or the process that you're trying to take them through. And what does that lead to? It leads to them not doing what you tell them to do on a consistent basis. And if you fail in this area, everything is lost. You've lost the battle. They're not going to get better. You're going to be frustrated. And you're not going to develop that student into becoming a great player. Okay? So the weak-minded people, you start at the branches, not at the root. Okay? Get them to trust in you that you can produce even a small improvement or result for them. Next comes prioritize. All right? So when someone comes and plays for you and you're listening to it, you're going to hear or see lots of things that you think isn't right or isn't perfect. Right? So there may be lots of things. Maybe the right-hand position, maybe the left-hand position, maybe the way that they're picking, the way they're holding the pick, the way the pick is tilted, the way the pick is angled. Right? Before they play a single note, you might discover all kinds of things that are not as they should be. Right? Then you see them actually play, and you hear that the articulation is weak, it's inconsistent, their pick travels in too big of a distance, they're inefficient motions, they don't have the strings muted, so some of the additional strings are making noise that's sloppy. The two hands are not in sync, so they're not totally articulating notes exactly the same time, so now you get a little bit of fret buzz, a little bit of muffed notes, right? Maybe the phrasing sucks. Maybe they're just too damn slow because the fingers fly away from the guitar too much. They don't have a good economy of motion. We can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's thousands of things that could potentially be wrong, or at least not be consistent with what it is that you're trying to teach and how you're trying to teach them, okay, according to the philosophy that you use in your teaching. Is this making sense? Okay, so you're going to hear or see probably lots of stuff. Well, you have to choose. You have to pick. Where are we going to start? You can't dump all these things on them at once and say, let me give you a list of 457 things that you need to fix right now. They're going to overwhelm them. So somehow we need to prioritize. How do we prioritize? By personality type. Okay? Strong-minded people, we would prioritize from the root and go up. Weak-minded people, from branches and come down. Okay? Because they can't handle the root. What was that movie? You Can't Handle the Truth. What's that movie?
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Feel Good Man.
Feel Good Man. You guys see that movie, A Few Good Men?
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson says, Tom Cruise, you can't handle the truth. Weak mind people can't handle the roots. Okay? It's just too hard, it's too boring, takes too much time. It's like, dude, just show me. Just help. Right? They want to have a come to Jesus moment. I suck, this is suck, help me. They want you to fix something. And the next is we have to communicate all that. So we have to communicate to them, this is where actual teaching starts, where you're telling that person, hey, this is what I think is best for you to do right now. Okay? And there's a lot that goes into just the communication side, but right now let's just stick to this basic order. Okay? Okay. So you've just heard what basically is my whole procedure for dealing with teaching students. Okay? One-on-one students, particularly students that might be new to me. Like, I've never had Gonzalo sit here before. In fact, I've never heard a play live. Okay? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking, and I'm just going to ask you a question. And the question is, what do you got? What do you want to talk about?
I have a problem that has been bugging me for a long time now, which is in my left hand, where I feel that I cannot control my ring finger well enough to have sequences of 3 notes per string, for example, 1, 3, 4. So it always breaks up when I try to go faster, or when I do 1, 2, 4. Right now it's okay, but if I try to go faster, my ring finger tends to go down and muffle sometimes the strings, which doesn't allow me to play runs cleanly.
Okay. All right. Now, I've listened, and now I'm ignoring. Some of that I think was good and accurate, and it was on point. But there are other things that wasn't stated that I think exist that are contributing to the problem of what he stated. Some of what he stated were symptoms, and some of what he stated was part of the problem. But there are other parts of the problem that I believe exist that he didn't yet state. Okay? So this is why I don't just jump right in and start answering the specific things that he said, because I know that his premise has some missing pieces. Okay, or at least I think so. Okay. So you guys heard what he said, right? So what's the next? You guys taking notes? We listened. Maybe we ignored. Maybe not. I don't know what these guys are thinking. What's next on the list? What happens next? What's the next piece of the process? Silent play. Okay. So why don't you just have a seat here and take over. Ask our buddy Gonzalo the silent play and analyze it, and you guys all listen, observe if you want to. There's a little secret that I'll tell you is that sometimes when people play, sometimes I watch them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I look away, sometimes I look at the floor. Okay? Because when you're sitting like this, all right, I'll stand over here. When you're sitting like this, you ever have a student who does this? They're playing, and they look right in your eyes, and they stare, and they're in a trance. I was like, what, dude, are you serenading me? Are you gay? Or I'm not that way. So it's cool if you are, but nothing gonna happen here, okay? I don't know what the hell's going on. What should I think about this? You know what I mean? It's like, are you gonna start singing love songs, or should I look away now? I'm being observed. Does this dude like me? You know. So sometimes I look away to break that shit because I cannot stand it. Other times, if the student sees you looking at him or her, that makes them feel uncomfortable, and then they start with the mouth talking, and you don't want that. You want them to just play, don't speak, right? So sometimes I'll look away. Other times I'll look away so that my eyes don't influence what it is that I should be listening for, right? So if I'm looking at, like for example, if you start playing with this right hand, from this angle, I can't even truly see what I really need to see. to check out his picking hand. To do that visually, I would really need to put him over here, and then I would look down the neck of the guitar, and then I see what's happening. Or I'd get up and stand behind him, which makes him feel uncomfortable all the time, and I'll look right over his shoulder. Right? If I really want to see what's going on, that's what I would have to do. You can't see it from there. But you can hear things. You can hear inconsistency in articulation, right? So, if you're watching, since you can't really see much here anyway, you usually end up watching over there, but that may not be what you're supposed to be listening for. All right, so go ahead, silent play, let's see what you got.